So often, all pros, Pro Bowlers emerge after being taken outside of Thursday night's first round. Here are some notable Big Ten players selected in the second and third rounds of the 2026 NFL Draft. Both Caden McDonald, Denzel Boston had first-round grades, went early in round two. D'Angelo Pons, the only reason he is a round two selection because of his size. Try to get that guy off the field once he gets on there. The hometown Pittsburgh Steelers took Drew Allar, something of a controversial pick in front of their home crowd. Steelers also took Iowa offensive lineman Jennings Dunker, who, as you can see, is going to fit in just fine in Pittsburgh. Rick Pizzo back with Howard Griffith. I mentioned Denzel Boston, who many draft experts had ranked as one of the top wide receivers in this draft and was expected to go in the first 20-25 picks coming out of Washington. He falls early into the second round, and I think this is a huge get for the Cleveland Browns.
A huge one, particularly if they're able to use him and utilize his skill set, being able to, particularly in man-to-man coverage, be able to make plays, and also just being able to catch the ball and be able to make big plays. I think he has that type of ability, and one of those guys, when you look back, he's probably going to have a chance to exceed his contract that he signs as a rookie really quickly. So he's the type of player that I think is going to be a big-time pro.
Yeah, trying to give whoever ends up playing quarterback in Cleveland another option to throw to. But he is a prototypical wide receiver in today's NFL. He can high point the football. You put it up there and there's back shoulder throws. He's going to be able to go and get it as Denzel Boston goes 39th overall to Cleveland. Few picks later, it's D'Angelo Pons. And I was in Atlanta when Pons absolutely lit all the Indiana fans that were there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on fire, picking off Dante Moore early. I understand he's a guy who's maybe 5'9" on his best day, and that could be an issue against big wide receivers. But if I'm a defensive coordinator, especially a defensive coordinator for the New York Jets, who have had issues forcing opposing turnovers for years now, this to me is a home run get, especially 50 picks into the draft.
You think about this. Who's their head coach? Aaron Glenn? 5'9" guy, was a 12th pick in the draft when 12th player taken in the draft when he came out. To me, they are really similar when you think about the size and their stature and the way they play the game. He is a guy that's going to be physical with you, go get it. He's not afraid to play man-to-man. Is he going to have success every play on the outside? No, that's not what they're going to do. But they're going to utilize him the best way and keeping him on the field, whether it's playing the nickel position and moving him out and lining him up. He can do so much for you. You see him making plays on special teams. To me, when Aaron Glenn looks at Pons, he's saying, okay, I get it, because this guy is so much like I was when I had the opportunity to be drafted.
He's a football player. Yeah. At the end of the day, I know he's 5'9". He is a really good football player. I think he's going to stick in the NFL for a long time. You know, Gabe Jacas was so productive at Illinois. I'm curious as to how he translates. I considered an edge probably by the Patriots. He's drafted 55th overall. And I'm curious as to how New England is going to use him in their defensive scheme.
Yeah, I think it's about him continuing to develop. There's no question when you look at the production that he's able to do, the speed, the power to be able to really control and set the edge. Those are all be important things that he'll have to learn. I think he'll also have to learn and start to increase his pass rush.
Yes.
Some of his moves there are going to help him. But there's no doubt that he was able to make a lot of plays at the University of Illinois this past season and during his college career. But now it's time for him to take that next step, and I believe that New England believes they can teach him the things that he needs to. He's also going to end up probably dropping in the coverage a little bit. He's an athletic young man and should have a good career.
You know, one of the most obvious reactions from the Pittsburgh crowd came when the Steelers used their third-round pick on now former Penn State quarterback Drew Allar. Missed the second half of this season with injury. He came in as one of the most highly touted recruits that Penn State had seen at quarterback in a long time. Folks were thinking Kerry Collins. We're thinking Heisman Trophy. He never lived up to that. He's taken 76th overall. I wonder how Pittsburgh views him. Do they view him as a long-term solution? Do they view him as a project that has all the measurables and tools? I don't think we really know until we see how they want to use him going into fall camp.
I think from my perspective, anytime when I saw him coming out of high school, I said it's no question this guy has all the talent. He has the arm talent. And then to watch him over the summers just continue to get better. But he also suffered from being in a system where they really weren't able to get the passing game going a lot. and that was unfortunate. But it's no question how tough this young man is, and that he has all the physical tools to make all the throws and do the things he needs to do at the next level. I'm a huge fan. I'm sorry to see him get banged up, that he wasn't able to finish his career the way he wanted to. But I think he's probably going to be a guy who you can ease into the system. I think he has all the attributes to be a great pro. It just got to take time, and he's got to live up to where his athleticism really is.
And he's definitely going to look to the outside and feel like I actually have multiple options to throw to, and I don't have to always make the perfect throw to get those wide receivers in position to make plays, because he had Tyler Warren that one year, and that worked out really well from the tight end position, but very little from the wide receiver spot. So let's transition now to the running back position. And the Big Ten went on a pretty good run here through the third, fourth, fifth, and into the sixth rounds, where you see all the Big Ten running backs chosen. Jonah Coleman in the fourth round to Denver intrigues me, as does Emmett Johnson in round 5 to Kansas City. I mean, Coleman is a guy that can go in between the tackles, that can beat you up. He's perhaps a little faster than people give him credit for. I think Denver got a really good pick there in the fourth round.
Yeah, you start to think about pairing him with J.K. Dobbins, and then all of a sudden that's a dynamic backfield that they have there. Built low to the ground, physical runner, is going to run through people, never falling backwards. Outstanding in pass pickup, does a great job there, and really developed even more, I thought, as the year went on, as a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's going to be a big part of what they ask him to do. But it's the things he does without the ball in his hands that I think is going to be a big reason why it'll be a really good fit for him. And probably when you think about all the backs that were taken in this past draft, he's a guy that I think can have an immediate impact.
And a good blocker as well to protect that quarterback. Quickly on Emmett Johnson, you know, Matt Rule said over and over again, anyone who sleeps on Emmett Johnson's ability in the NFL is going to be missing out on a young man who can do it all. He's a terrific pass catcher out of the backfield, and if you give him a hole, he's gone.
He's really one of those guys that you go back 2 years ago, really wasn't in the mix until late in that second year. Then he got involved and really became that player catching the ball out of the backfield. Kenneth Walker's on the roster, so you know he's going to be the guy, but he's also one of those players that'll be able to get into the fold. We talked about special teams with some other guys. Emmett will have to be big in the special teams game, and I know he'll be able to do that. Hanging out with one of my former buddies, you know, Eric Bieniemy, running things over there, and he's that type of guy. He's a tough guy that will do all the things you want a player to do at the running back spot.
Follow Kenneth Walker, another former Big Ten guy coming out of Michigan State. Certainly follow him if he's going to take you out to dinner, because K-Walk signed a monster contract after the year that he had with the Seahawks last year. He's a good guy to have in your hip pocket.